It's Monday, and you know what that means here on the Intentional Mom podcast. It means there is a shiny new mantra for you to start off the week. This one is an excuse buster. It is going to be one you don't want to miss if you ever find yourself struggling to get yourself to do what you plan on doing. Let's jump in and get started.
Well, hey there, I am Jennifer Roskamp, a certified life coach and homeschool mom of 9 who is passionate about helping women just like you embrace the here and now while also being focused on creating the life you actually want. In reality, it's not about thinking life will get so much better or so much easier when you fill in the blank. Let's work on creating a life you love now. So let's dive in and get started on redefining Supermom to be someone who is present, intentional, and content rather than perfect in our homes, in our lives, and in our own skin. Let's get started. This is the Intentional Mom Podcast.
All right. So before we jump in with the mantra, in case you're new here, I want to really define what a mantra is as I use them. I share mantras all over the place. I share mantras here on the podcast. I share mantras with my coaching clients. I share mantras in my coaching community. I share mantras pretty much anywhere I teach anything. I might be a guest on someone else's podcast. I might be a guest speaker in a summit. I might be teaching a class or a course or an in-person event. Mantras are always so important because what a mantra does is it really gets your mind on board first. A mantra really focuses your mindset where it needs to be in order to take some sort of action or avoid taking an action. A mantra it brings back to light some things that we often forget or easily don't think about. And so, a mantra, then, the reason I share them all the time and really their purpose, before you can do anything, you really have to have your mind on board first. Your mind makes a decision before your body takes an action. And so, a mantra is a really effective thing to focus on when you notice yourself doing or not doing something. And so that's what makes this particular mantra such a good one, too, because this one speaks directly to what can happen when we end up finding all the reasons not to follow through with something that we had planned on doing or not doing. So the mantra is this: what if that didn't matter? What if that didn't matter? Now, think about the times where you, in the recent past, because we all have them, I'm assuming you do too, think about something you recently wanted to do and you just simply didn't do it. It could have been a task, like I wanted to clean out the refrigerator. It could have been something you wanted to do for yourself, like in a self-care sort of way, like you wanted to get your workout done. And think about something like this. Think about a time that this happened to you. Most likely, in almost 100% of the cases, there was a thought or a series of thoughts that happened before you decided not to follow through. And the thoughts that would have come into your mind would have likely taken the form of an excuse or a justification. So, by the way, an excuse is typically something that you're not going to feel good about when you follow that when you follow your brain's guidance. The reason a justification is different is because a lot of times a justification makes sense. The extent in the case of not wanting to follow something through, let's say you decide to not do your workout. An excuse would say something like, "It's so hot outside," or "It's so cold outside," or "You're so sore," or "You had a really long day." Those things might be true, but they're more of an excuse. A justification would say something like, "Well, I ended up having to take my kid to the doctor today, and that took an extra hour and a half of my time. And so I'm really just not going to be able to get to that workout today." They're both true, but the justification makes a little bit more sense. And typically, with an excuse, you're going to feel what I call the big three afterwards. You're going to feel guilty, you're going to feel shame, and you're going to essentially reprimand yourself. You're going to blame yourself because you didn't follow through. Justifications, when you follow that through and maybe you don't take the action in that case, usually justifications you still won't necessarily feel great about, but you'll have an understanding and a compassion for yourself that will be missing in the case of an excuse. But today's mantra says, what if that didn't matter? So whether they are excuses or whether they are justifications that come to your mind, what if when those came to your mind, you asked yourself this question? What if it didn't matter? Because those things can be totally true and you can still take action even in spite of that truth. You can go out for a walk even if it's hot out. You can go for a walk even if it's cold out. And even in the case of the justification example that I gave, maybe you can still get in a 10-minute workout, maybe not the full 30. But it's all about asking yourself, what if that didn't matter? Because remember, your brain's job is to keep you safe, happy, and comfortable. And typically, when you ask yourself to do something, you're going to have to invest something of yourself. You're going to have to invest your time. You're going to have to invest your physical energy. You're going to have to invest your emotional energy. And we know that's going to cost us something. And well, we'd rather just not make those investments much of the time. But there still is going to be a benefit. There still is a reason why you initially chose to do that thing that you're hoping to do anyway. There's a reason why that is something you planned. There's a reason why you set that as your goal. And so when these justifications and excuses come up, my challenge for you this week is to call out this mantra and just ask yourself, what if that didn't matter? And truly find the answer to that. It will help you choose whether or not you're going to do something with more intention rather than just blindly following along with the excuses or justifications because you conclude that they're true. They can be true, and you can still have follow through even if they are true. What if that didn't matter is going to be a really good qualifier for you to decide whether or not you're going to follow with the plan A, which is what you had planned to do, doing the thing, or give more time and attention and validation to the excuses or the justifications. It just puts you in the driver's seat about whether you are or aren't going to do anything. And that qualifying question, what if this didn't matter, is a great way to do that. So that's what I had for you today on this Monday Mantra episode. Make sure to tune in for the next episode of the Intentional Mom Podcast. We've got a guest speaker, and those are so well loved. Those are some of our most loved episodes. So make sure you're joining us for that. We'll talk then.